Hello, I'm Simon from Whale, and in this video we're going to cover the grey waste systems offered by Whale pumps. So on my right we have what we call the little sump box. The little sump box is for your small day boats where you might have a little bit of water coming from a sink and it can't go overboard by gravity. So this will be found down in the bilge area of your boat, and inside it we have a little submersible bilge pump, we have a filter and we have a sensor. So this pump is really restricted to those day boats that don't really have hair or anything like that going into the sump. If we move up a size to the medium to larger size boats, we always recommend that people use the grey waste tank along with a Gulper pump. Now the grey waste tanks themselves come in three different sizes. We have 8 litres, 16 litres and 20 litres. They have 4 inlet ports on one side, 4 on the other, and we also have an outlet on both sides as well, just for maximum flexibility. The inlet pipe size ranges from 1.5 inch down to 3/4 inch, and the outlet port is 3/4 inch on one side and 1 inch on the other side. The tanks themselves also have some threaded fittings on the side. That means that you can mount the pump to the side in multiple different orientations. That's if you have good space. If you don't have space to put it on the side of your tank, you can mount this pump somewhere else. We all know that the Gulper 320 can be a remote mounted pump, so that means it can be mounted 1 metre away, 2 metres away, wherever you have space, or indeed if you want to reduce noise in living areas, you can move the pump somewhere else. The tanks have also been increased in height. That means that we have a little bit more of a reservoir of grey waste in the bottom, and that reduces the amount of air being sucked out of the tank through the pump and reduces the noise level. So at night time it's much quieter. It's quieter than the previous versions that we've had. The lids of these tanks are all one unit. So as you can see, it's all black plastic. Encased in the black plastic are sensors. So this is a single sensor version, but on a double sensor version you will have one here and one here. The sensors themselves are encased also in a potting compound, so that should water get in through the top, then the electronics are protected. The top itself is a snap fit and it has a seal around it, and also there's a rubber grommet for the wires coming out the top. So there are 4 levels of protection on the sensor itself. So many people will only need one sensor to operate one pump. If you have a larger boat and maybe more systems, more waste systems coming into this, you can have 2 sensors and 2 pumps, or some people prefer to have one pump and then maybe they have an alarm attached to the top sensor. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the changes that we made to the outside of the tank as well. We've added some information in terms of the port sizes, that you should actually drill these holes, not cut them with a saw. And the holes themselves, or the end of the ports, have also been recessed so that you can find the centre nice and easily when you go to drill the holes out. And there's also some instructions across the front as well. So we've talked about how we use the grey waste tank for those stay on board boats, the ones that have heads, the ones that have showers, the ones that get use. You never need to take this tank, open it and clean out any filters or take the pump out because there's no pump in it. The pump is remote. And that brings us nicely on to the Gulper. The Gulper, we have 3 versions of the Gulper. We have the 220, which is the smallest, the 320, which is the one I'm holding, and then we have the Gulper IC, which we'll talk about later on. But all 3 Gulpers run off the same principle. They have a gear set in the housing here. They also have a reciprocating diaphragm in the head of the pump. That reciprocating diaphragm really is the key to success of the Gulper. It moves forward and pushes any waste out. It moves back and sucks any waste in. That diaphragm has no external edges or parts for hair or debris to catch on, so it never blocks and it never clogs. On the head we have 1 inlet valve and 2 outlet valves. Within the outlet valve we have the tricuspid valve, and if you've seen any of our other videos on the toilet pump or on the grouper, we've explained that there as well. The tricuspid has 3 sides. Unlike the traditional non-return valve, which is flat, more like a duckbill, this has 3 sides. And the reason for that is that it opens up much further than a flat non-return valve. That means that the efficiency of this pump is much better. It also means that if something is in there in the middle of the pumping cycle, when the reciprocating diaphragm pushes forward and the waste goes out, and then it sucks back in. When this closes, if there's still a bit of debris in there, it will suck it shut around that and still create a seal. So for your boats up to maybe 50, 60 feet, this grey waste system is the best solution. We do offer a bespoke version, which is a 100-litre tank, and it comes with 2 of our Gulper 320s already pre-mounted on there, and you really need to just contact Whale for more information on that. I want to move across then to our Gulper IC. Now, our Gulper IC is specifically designed for those boats that have very limited space. So if you want to have a good grey waste solution, you always go for a Gulper, but you can't always go for a grey waste tank because there isn't the space, or maybe there isn't the gravity to drain away into one of these tanks into your bilge. What Whale came up with was a Gulper IC, so a smart pump. It has the pump. In the back of the pump there's a circuit board, and that circuit board controls the operation of this pump. So you can connect this pump to a number of accessories. One of the accessories that I have here is a gully. This gully has a sensor built into it. You can connect this gully straight to the pump. There are 2 sizes. This is the large one, there's also a smaller one. So when water enters the gully in your shower tray and it fills this up, the sensor realizes that there's water there and turns the pump on. Now, the pump itself doesn't just start straight away at full capacity. It has a soft start. So the circuit board on the inside starts the motor that little bit more gently. It's so small that we don't notice it, we can't really hear it, but that means that it'll extend the life of that a little bit longer than a standard 320. And that sensor, once there's no water left, it'll turn the pump off. So that means you don't have to use a grey waste tank in your installation. It also means if you have a shower tray in your boat that's above the bilge or above the hull, that means that if you want to have more head height in there, you can actually drop the shower tray down because you don't need any gravity. You don't need to have that space below the bottom of your shower tray and the hull of the boat. You can just install this gully. If you maybe have enough space for gravity, but not enough space for one of these grey waste tanks, we have our little manifold. Our little manifold you might recognise from the 3-way black waste valve that we have. But the difference is that this has a sensor on the inside as well, and it connects to a single Gulper IC pump. You can bring your shower waste into here, you can bring your sink waste into here, and then whenever this fills up with water on the inside with that grey waste, it activates the pump, pump turns on, takes that waste away. So these are all of the options that you have for grey waste on board, running from the low price point and low debris handling, all the way up through the severe debris handling to the niche installation to give you that little bit more headroom in your shower, or if you're limited in terms of location for a grey waste tank, the grey IC is ideal for that installation. Thank you very much.